Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so excited to be here with you guys on tonight. It is going to be an amazing show on tonight, and I'm really excited about my guest and everything that's going to transpire. So, hey, you guys already know the preliminary things. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind going ahead subscribing to the YouTube channel, and while you're there, click on notification so that you can be notified each and every time a new podcast is uploaded to the site. And then also click on like so that this can be shared with others just like you. And as you know, you can watch the podcast each and every Monday. You can watch it live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Again, that's Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And if you're not following me on Instagram and TikTok, you can go ahead and follow me on both of those platforms at the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. On both TikTok and Instagram, it's the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. And then if you're on the go and you're unable to watch the podcast on Monday, you can always catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Again, on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So I'm really excited about my guest on tonight because I've known Chanta for over 30 years. I think when I first met her, she was either in junior high or getting ready to go to high school. And I met her. I was a musician at the church that she played at. So over the years, I've been able to watch Chanta evolve into the amazing woman she is today. So I'm really excited about having her on because this whole season is about leveling up and finding and being the best version of yourself. Chanta is a licensed therapist, so I'm really excited about that because she'll be able to answer some questions tonight about like how to find a therapist because I am truly an advocate for therapy. You know, I have a therapist myself, so I'm really excited about her being on the podcast, and we're going to go ahead and bring Chanta on now so she can tell us a little bit about herself. Chanta, what's going on?
What's going on, my friend, my brother? How are you?
Nothing. I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I actually am in my office, so I just finished up for today. So I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, me too. And thank you for coming on. So, guys, just letting you guys all know, I had another guest lined up for tonight and they were unable to be here. And I called, I have some of the most amazing friends. So I was able to call Chanta and she was able to squeeze me in tonight. So I'm really excited to have her here. So, Chanta, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you're a therapist. So, how did you get here?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I thought about it this morning when you reached out to me. I was like, I know he's gonna ask me this question. So I actually never knew what I wanted to do in my adult life. I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but as I was going through my undergrad, that didn't work out for me. So I just got a general studies and communication. And as I was on my journey in my prior career, everybody was like, man, Chanta, you're so good with people. People feel like you're easy to talk to, that you listen, you don't judge, you give them a safe space. And I definitely get it from my mom because she was the same way. And so my homegirl was like, well, why don't you become a counselor? I was like, what? I got to go back to school? I'm not interested. She was like, no, you can do it. You can do it. So we signed up. Shout out to Amberton University, one of the best universities for working adults. And so we signed up and I took one class at a time. And before I knew it, I was done. Well, what they don't tell you is it's one thing to get the master's, but another thing to get the certification and the license. And so after I graduated, I took my exam and I failed miserably. And so I was like, well, since I got a career, I'm good. But God kept pulling me to get my license in counseling, and I did not know why. So fast forward 8 years later, I went and sat for the exam again, missed it by 6 points. And I felt at that time I was in a better place in my life. I had grown so much as an individual. And so I took it again within 30 days and passed it. And God started to show me why He needed me in this area of mental health, mental illness, becoming a licensed professional counselor. So that's pretty much my story. And I tell people my story because I always want to encourage somebody, John, that no matter what it takes to get to your destination, and I think this is just one of the destinations along my journey, don't give up. Don't give up. And I am such a better therapist because I allowed that time to lapse between me graduating and me becoming a licensed counselor. So that's pretty much my story. Just a girl from Oak Cliff. And God had a calling, over my life. And I have been able to help people, and also been able to just serve and support people where they really need it. So,
Wow. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you said that before you became a therapist, you were just working a job. Well, not
mhm,
you had a career outside of
mhm,
being a therapist. So like you pivoted, and which is, I
mhm.
mean, I think that is like amazing. And you went ahead and did it. How long did you work in corporate before you pivoted into therapy?
Good question. I was in corporate America for 18 years. And so I took a huge leap and a lot of risk by leaving what I know to be the norm, you know, so I 18 years. But what I found out was God was preparing things for me in the therapy side. And so I laid and it was a foundation that had to be laid for me to get to where I am now in life. And so I think that 18-year career, which you don't find that too often, for people to stay somewhere long term. So yeah, I was in corporate America 18 years.
Wow. Man, and I think that is so important for people to hear because I think a lot of times we get stuck in our positions and our roles on our job,
Mhm.
and we do these jobs for 20, 30 years, and we stay in one field forever when our
Yeah.
heart is calling us to do something different. But of
Mhm.
course, there's fear of like failure. And like how you said, when you took the exam, you didn't pass your first time. So
Right.
it's like fear will keep people in positions
Yep.
like that they've either outgrown or that they're
Mhm.
not even called to do or fulfilled. That's one of the things the guest last week was saying, that he wants to do things that he feel fulfilled in doing.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of times we just work jobs because it
Mhm.
pays the money
Absolutely,
or
yeah.
we've been there forever. So when you switched over, was it scary for you?
So it was very scary. Not only did I switch, jobs and switch how I made money and got my money, I had also just bought a brand new home. So I was like, okay, I've stepped out on faith, taken this leap, changing careers, not knowing. So in our field, we do what's called bill for service. So it's not like corporate where every 2 weeks the check on hit. We only get paid if we're providing service. So when I'm not providing service, I don't get paid. So here I am with this bigger mortgage, more debt, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, am I sure this is the right thing to do? But like I said, there was such a tugging on me to get into this field. I had to take the leap. And one thing I know about me and about even the people that I hang around with, one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to fail. We might fly, but we're going to eventually land somewhere, but we're not going to fail. So I was like, well, okay, if this don't work, then I can always go back to my prior career because I have a license in that as well. So I kind of set myself up. But yeah, whew, it was really scary. And then as I started to walk in what I was called to do, doors just start opening. People started finding me, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was gonna be like this." But then God reminded me, "This is why I had you to wait 18 years because see, I was setting this up for you." I was like, "Oh." Because I was mad. I was like, why you still got me in corporate America? No, I got a master's. I done did all these clinical hours. I done spent all this money. I was working 4 jobs at one time getting my clinical hours. I was mad. I was like, no, God, come on now. But he was setting things, he was orchestrating things that I couldn't even see. And I was like, oh, okay, this how this work, you know? I planted the seed, I watered it, and my crops start to flourish. And so, yeah, so it was and it was so worth it.
Wow. And I love how you said God was orchestrating things because I live my life by that, whole thing. I
Mhm.
think that everything is divinely orchestrated and is strategically planned. And when we
Yeah.
look back, of course, when we're going through it in real time, we don't
Uh,
see that this is just another piece of the puzzle
yeah.
being placed. We don't see that. But
Right.
once you go back and you look back and you see, like, dang, God, you connected me with this person and this
Yep.
person connected me with this person that
Yep.
planted this in my head. So that is just like amazing. Okay. So then you step out into it.
Mhm.
And did you, and I know you said people instantly found you and everything, or people found you through, whatever method.
Mhm.
Did you automatically like have a clientele that matched your salary from corporate?
No, I didn't. No, no. It was so okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but coming into this profession, like I said, we get paid for service. So I had like 5 clients, um, and that wasn't going to pay my mortgage. So I had to bite the bullet. I got a night job at Walmart. I became a a healthcare provider to elderly people. I became what else did I do? I was doing something else. And my cousin say, "Girl, well, are you Jamaican?" 'Cause I would work. So I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, "God, now you said you will provide for me." And within 30 days, 30 to 60 days, I had a full caseload. I had actually an abundance of people. And so I had to quit all those other jobs, but it was scary. But now, what I did do, I did save. I was able to save for the transition, and I had paid off all my debt. So the only debt I had was my mortgage. I had paid off everything. So I was in a really good place. I just need to make sure, some income kept coming in while my clientele built up, and it did. And I tell my clients all the time, I'm really big into affirming things. So I would just say it's gonna happen. The clients are gonna come. I'm really big into just speaking things as though they were so. And before I knew it, it was people at my job that did not like me. They was like, "How is it she got all these clients and she just started?" But I was like, "It's not me. It's God." So
Okay, so we got a question here already. So Yolanda says, did you have to pay for supervision to get your hours? That can also be another financial. Yeah. So did you have to
yeah.
do that?
Yes, in the state of Texas, we do have to be supervised for 3,000 hours. I did have to pay. Once again, let me tell you how God worked. My first supervisor, she charged us $300 a month. Now that's a lot of money. But she was amazing. She taught me some amazing skills, training. I got to network with some people. My second supervisor was like, "Listen, I know you're trying to get your hours, so I'm gonna reduce that down to $100 a month." And I was like, "Okay," but she would go to sleep in my session. She would go. And so I'm supposed to be getting advice from her, telling her caseloads and stuff. She knocked out. But listen, I needed that, for somebody to sign off. So yes, Yolanda, I did have to pay, but I have reaped everything I have sown. I have gotten it all back plus some.
Okay,
So
so when you can say hours for supervision, is that like someone sitting in a client session with you guys while you're actually doing it? What does that mean?
So
Supervision.
for each license, depending on what type of license you have, like for the LPC license, which is what I am, a licensed professional counselor, someone just has to meet with you weekly. You can talk to them about cases. They're not able to sit in with you because of patient confidentiality clause, HIPAA. So you really being thrown to the wolves. Like you better start talking, asking questions, because if not, the clients might not come back. So she would just, ask me questions. She would give me homework. She would tell me to watch different type of shows. She would remind me to do my notes and make sure that I'm being ethical, because that's a big thing in this side. A lot of people forget that for some reason. So just make sure I'm being ethical, make sure I know the rules. There are rules and things that govern licensed professional counselors, licensed clinical social workers. You also have like licensed marriage family therapists. So there are rules that govern each one of those licenses. And so it's just wanted to make sure I was aware, because, when you work in a field, I really think it's important that you're educated and you're aware of how things go, and what your responsibilities are.
So what's
Yeah.
an example of not being ethical?
Sleeping with your client, dating your client, um, yeah, being best friends with your clients. Yeah. Or I've had some incidents where someone told my client that the reason why they lived a certain lifestyle, that's why they were depressed. I'm like, no, that doesn't it doesn't equate. So that's being unethical, which we are here to help. We are not here to hinder. I am not here to like, I call it, project my own beliefs onto my clients. Those are my beliefs and they have their beliefs. And so I have to check myself at the door every single day, because some of the things that I hear are very off putting. But I cannot in no way let my client see that or know that, because then I'm not creating a safe space for them. So, my beliefs are my beliefs and their beliefs are their beliefs, because I want to make a space for all human beings, regardless of your race, creed, religion, background. I want you to be able to come in and really find a space where you feel supported, encouraged, and uplifted. And that is my job as a provider, because if I worked in a hospital and someone came in of a different background, ethnicity, or belief, I would still hope that I would want to service them. That's my job. That's what I've been called to do. So, but yeah, so being ethical is really important.
Yeah. Now, if you sleeping with your therapist and going with them and you still paying them for their hourly services, you need a therapist for being the fool. 'Cause
Right.
I'm not
Exactly.
going to
Yeah.
pay you and I'm sleeping with
Unfortunately, I
you
do
now.
have, yeah, I've been in some situations. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's why I have to read the room. If I have a sense that, one of my clients, I guess, has a crush on me or something, I'm like, yeah, let me find you someone else to work with.
Nice.
Because, it's not comfortable for me or for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it has happened.
So
It has happened.
it has happened.
I've had a client that had a crush on me and I had to terminate, and I had to threaten to call the authorities because he was very inappropriate.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So, Shanta, let's talk about, there's a stigma when it comes to therapy.
Mhm.
And what is that all about? Like, why are people afraid of therapy?
Mhm. I think you have a few components that play into that, John, from your background, your ethnicity, religion, what someone else has told you. But and a lot of cultures have this thing where it's taboo. Like, you don't go and tell nobody your secrets or the most intimate things about you. You don't become vulnerable for anybody else. And so we have had to do a lot of work, and I think we have gotten better with just letting people know we're here to help. We're not here to judge you. Because in some cultures, it is norm for incest. It is norm to, just be tyrant. And so, and people don't know that actually that stems from your mental state of mind. There's something mentally going on that we need to kind of look at and say, hey, that's not right. That's not the norm. So, and then I know for me, I do a lot of public speaking in churches, especially in the Black community. And we've been taught, you just pray about everything. You take it to the Lord in prayer. But the Lord in prayer can't heal schizophrenia, nor bipolar, nor even severe depression, nor anxiety. Some things God has equipped somebody else to help you with. And even some of these pastors I've talked to, they're like, Shanta, we're not even equipped. We done prayed and slang all and, sheets and my member still got problems. Correct, Pastor. So I, yeah. Yeah.
So
So
is
it's
the
I think it's a
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
what you say?
No,
Oh,
no, go
it's just
ahead.
I think we have made ourselves to believe in things that are not just not true, you know. And so now that's why you see such a big push for mental health awareness, understanding mental health. Even we have in April autism acceptance coming up because people we have preconceived what we think to be true, but it's not true. So we are boots on the ground getting people educated.
So I'm going to ask you this question because, and yeah, I'm going to ask, I think this is a good question. I think you're the perfect person to answer it. So this is like intertwining religion with, therapy or whatever. So
Mhm.
is like some of these things that people go through, because, like you just said, we'll say prayer about it. And we'll just say, that's a spiritual warfare.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
How do you know what's not a spiritual warfare and you really need to go to therapy?
Um, well, I mean, that's a good question. Look, that is a good question because for me, looking on this side, I'm really like, is it really spiritual or is it mental? Which everything I think it does start in the brain, But like I said, if you are still battling, and you can even gauge it for yourself, like, okay, spiritual warfare. If you are still battling within yourself after 2, 3, 4, 5 months, baby, that spirit tired. You need to come on in because you wearing yourself out. So, but and then for me, I'm like, okay, spiritual warfare, but technically it's anxiety. It's severe anxiety at that. So it could be a combination of things, which is pretty much probably what it is most times.
Yeah, and not negating the fact that there are moments and times when the enemy does come up against us,
Absolutely.
not but I do agree with you that when you said like a lot of things are more mental. And
Hmm.
especially if you've been dealing with it for 4 or 5 months,
Yeah.
we by then you could possibly be in a deep depression and really don't realize that's what has transpired. So yeah, I loved how you said that it's a mental, and not just saying that there are unspiritual things that
Yeah.
we come up against. Yeah, there are things
Absolutely.
that we come up against, but mentally there are things in the church as believers we need to tackle. So I agree with
Absolutely.
you on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
do you think do you think it's getting better with people going to therapy, or do you think it's still like really a taboo? Because I hear people say all the time they have therapists and they're in therapy and all of this other kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's actually getting better. We are swamped, especially with this newer generation. These 18 to 27-year-olds, they wearing me out. We are swamped because they are woke. They are self-aware. They are trying to preserve themselves. They do not want to be like their parents. Now, my older generation, you're seeing them really suffer. Like my generation, we're suffering because say we came up in a generation, oh, you don't tell nobody your business, you pray about it, or let's say even if you're not religious, you don't tell nobody your business, you internalize it and keep it to yourself. And oh, get over it, it'll work out. Well, my newer generation, they not having it. They like, no, I want to tell you all my business. I want your help. So I think it's gotten a lot better. And the entities that I've been blessed to go into, my uncle is a pastor over in Dallas, and he is always calling on me to come in to his church and talk to his congregation. And a lot of them are older, and they come up to me and say, Shanta, thank you, because they're suffering, and I'm like, yeah, it's no need to suffer, and of course there's also the taboo when you talk about therapy, then you also to go into medication treatment, which that's a whole different dynamic on itself.
Dang, Shanta, you had them almost about to sign up to a therapist, and then you said medication. That's where it turns right there. Now I got to
Yes.
go to a therapist, and I got to be on Prozac or whatever's out
Mhm.
there now. Like,
No. So I take the
oh wow.
holistic approach though, John. I do. I sit down and really talk to my clients to see where they are. And I tell my clients, I say, listen, first of all, let's talk about when the last time you saw your primary care doctor and had your blood work done. Do you not know most of my clients are so vitamin deficient? That's what's causing their anxiety.
Oh
So
wow.
I have my clients go to their primary care, get their blood work done. That's our first step before we even talk about prescribed meds. They come back, we talk about the results. If it's a vitamin deficiency, of course, the doctor's already told them they've already gotten them on vitamins. So some of this stuff we can help ourselves, and that rolls right into self-care. If we are more self-aware and going to the doctor and say, okay, if my iron low, take your iron supplements. If you need magnesium, go get you some magnesium. If you have low energy, guess what? Vitamin E is a perfect cure. It's a great cure, I should say. If you have whatever, there are so many supplements now that help people. So I'm like, let's start there. And then in about 2, 3 months, I gauge where they are to see if we need to take it a step further.
Nice. I love that. I love that. So okay. So so we have something here. TC said, uh, let's see here. She said, facts, growing up for us, therapy was frowned upon. Like you so said, we were taught to pray about it and leave it in the Lord's hand, or it was blamed on the devil for an example.
Mhm.
Depression
Equals.
equals that's the work of the devil. In all reality, we are suffering
Mhm.
mentally, yes, and drowning.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Mhm.
That is
So
so
true.
true.
So true. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I went over to a workshop and they were talking about the cultural disparity between African Americans and Caucasians, and mental illness is taking African Americans out. It's destroying families, communities, churches, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad. But I'm hoping with people like me and people, I know Yolanda's in the field, we, like I said, we got boots on the ground and we're trying to get the word out.
Yeah. And Yolanda also said, thanks for sharing. The people need to know what therapists have to go through to get
Mhm.
fully licensed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So, okay, so Shanta, so let's talk about this here too. And this is a question here. I think a lot of times people go to life coaches and they think life coaches are going to fix their problems. But a life coach is completely different than a therapist. A life coach is actually there to assist you in fulfilling your goals. Do you agree, or what is the difference between a life coach and a therapist in your opinion?
So I am actually a certified life coach as well.
Okay, as
So
well. I love you said as well. Okay.
as well. Yes, you're correct. So, certified life coaches are not governed by a body to help them understand how to regulate their services and how to provide and how to help. They do help, but they're not as trained, not trained, I should say, as therapists and social workers are. And so, really, a life coach, I'm gonna be honest with you, is someone who really could be your friend and who is really grounded in life. And they say, hey, I want to accomplish this goal. Can you help me? Can you hold me accountable? Absolutely. Can you check in with me? Absolutely. We don't have we don't have the life coaches don't have the some of them just don't have the entire background that we have. And like I said, understanding the therapy module of therapy, and treatment. They of course can't diagnose, don't know symptoms. They just like, oh, you got to go, but not realizing what's causing you not to be able to accomplish your goal is you dealing with depression or anxiety or ADHD. We're seeing that a lot now. So
Okay,
I
so that's
think
really
I would
good.
encourage I would encourage anybody who wants to be a life coach to really look into becoming an LPC or getting going to get their master's and getting the license and then adding life coach on top of it, because they go hand in hand.
Okay. So I love that. So you pretty much said life coach is going to help you complete your goal, but a therapist is going to help you get to the truth, to the
Mm-hmm.
core of what's going on. So let's talk about that. So what does like a typical therapy, how do you know what truth to get to with the person? Because I know different therapies, and I think this is something that people need to know. When you're selecting a therapist, you just can't go and say, oh, I'm gonna choose you. You have to find out like what they specialize in so that it
Mm-hmm.
can suit your need, help you.
Yeah.
So like, how do you know what truth to look for in a person? Like, how do you know what core to get to? Or, well, I guess it's only one core, but how do you know how to resolve the problem or whatever?
Uh, well, with my clients, we do intake. And so intake is very essential and important because they fill out paperwork and I read about why they're coming in. And so my first session, I tell my clients, it's a get to know you, understand what your needs are, how I can help you. And so that's how I know. Because a lot of people, it's about how you make them feel when they come in. So if I make you feel wanted and heard and it's comfortable, um, then most people are just willing to open up. Now I got some people that don't, but and once they start talking, I'm listening because I'm listening for, okay, what is that? Where does that stem from? Where does that derive from? Where is that coming from? And normally, if they don't say it, then I just ask after they kind of give me the background of what brings them in. Now, what a lot of clients don't understand too, I'm also gauging if you are the right client for me. Because just because you've picked me and you feel like I'm right for you, that does not mean that you are right for me, you know? So I have to be very honest with myself and I have to be honest with my client and say, hey, this is what I think you need. And I'm always solution focused. This is what I think you need. This is the modality I think you need to work in if it's something I'm not trained in or if I don't do, and then I give them a referral. But yeah.
So is getting to the core, is that something that a lot of people struggle with? Is that because that can be kind of scary, like really
Mhm,
getting to what is really causing things in your life? Like,
mhm.
do you experience that being a hard place for some people to go to?
Yeah, it is hard, John, because what I've noticed, a lot of people don't know how to be honest and vulnerable with themselves. So I tell my clients, so I do a theme for every month. So the theme for December was, what have you given to yourself spiritually, emotionally, and mentally that you can give to somebody else? And I said, one of the things in your bucket has to be honesty and, vulnerability, because you come in my office, you don't know me, you know, and you just expect to open up. Now, once again, some people can, but a lot of people, they struggle with that. And when we get to talking and I tell them, I say, hey, when is the last time you were honest with yourself or vulnerable with yourself? They be like, Miss Shanta, I'm not. I'm like, so that lets me know you're not even in a relationship with yourself and you're not even self aware. Well, that's why I'm here. Okay. Well, the only way you can do that is to start communicating with yourself, spending time with yourself, doing some journaling, doing some self reflection and introspection. But I have some people, John, who have never done that a day in their life. It's almost like I see people floating in life, you know, and it's weird, but I'm like, man, you're floating. You're not even thriving, you're surviving. And so,
So I love that how you say you have to be in a relationship with yourself, but yeah, a lot of people don't even like themselves
there you go.
to yeah, a
Mhm,
lot of people don't even like themselves. So,
mhm,
but they think that if they get into a relationship with someone else, that'll
mhm,
fix the problem.
mhm,
So, how do you fix that that
mhm,
that that block that's keeping you from having a relationship with yourself? What are some
mhm,
things that people can do? Because there are some people that are watching tonight, they may never ever see a therapist, but
mhm.
maybe you can give them some tips to start working with themselves. How can you start a relationship with yourself?
Yeah. So one of the things we work on or work within in therapy is mantras and affirmations. So I have my clients to write out some things that they would want to say to themselves. That's optimistic, that's positive, and they put it up on their bathroom mirror or the refrigerator. So they say that every day for 30 days. I also guide my clients to workbooks that help them to really start to peel back what we call the layers of themselves and kind of start to dive deep, because a lot of people are very surface. And so I want to be able for my clients to dive deep. And so I have some cards that we work in. And so I read the question, they read the question, been off their virtual in the office. Some of my clients were like, Miss Shanta, I have never asked myself these questions. And so they get those cards and they do it at home. So it's homework. So like, and I tell my clients, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to help you. I'm like the tour guide on your journey. You know, I can lead you, as the old people saying, I can lead you to it, but I cannot make you. So if this is what you want, then you got to stop fighting with yourself and open yourself up and be vulnerable and start loving yourself. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, it's a journey, but it's worth it. And so I also have to be an example for people to share my journey, share my story, so people can be like, oh, you know what, she doing it. Okay, maybe I can doing it. And it might not happen, like I said, overnight, but it will happen if you stay with it.
I love that. So Dr. Whitfield came and said, a part of our responsibility as coaches is to recognize when a client should be referred for therapy. So I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Whitfield is a life coach. Okay, so yeah, that pretty much confirms exactly what you said. So, okay, so so that's really good about the relationship. Okay, so again, I want to stick with the core, because I think a lot of times we aren't willing to put in the work to get to the core,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hopefully if they are in a relationship with themselves and they become vulnerable with themselves, they will see that maybe I can't do this on my own and I
Yeah.
need help. So okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about, go ahead, Shant, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, and I was just gonna say, I just encourage people to know, because I think we're also in a day and age where people want to be quickly gratified. Like, I want this tomorrow, Shanta. I want things to be perfect for me tomorrow, but that's not reality. We are complex beings. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for us to get there. But if we keep doing it, it's like building. And I tell my clients, think about it this way. If you travel the world and you see something grand and beautiful, like the pyramids in Egypt, it took time to build something that beautiful. I said, so if it took somebody years, I'm sure years and years, I'll have to do the Google search on it. What makes you think that you, as a human being, it's going to take, it's an overnight process? It's a process. It takes time. And my mom used to tell me, anything worth having, it's gonna be some work. It's gonna be some work. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Dr. Harley, who was on the 2 episodes ago, he talks about in his book, he was saying like when we do stuff, I guess the quote is, if you do it for 21 days, it becomes a habit. But he
Mhm.
also came back and said, if you do it for 90 days, it becomes a lifestyle.
There you
So, like
go.
you
Yep.
said, you have to be patient with yourself and continue to do it every day. Every day
Yeah.
is something that you have to
Yep.
practice until it becomes a part of you. Okay, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I love that. So, okay. So once they do that, okay. So then the change comes about. The change
Hmm.
comes about. So, like the ultimate goal of what is the ultimate goal for someone coming to therapy? Because, like you just said, people think I'm going to come and it's going to change my life overnight.
Hmm.
Is change the ultimate thing? Like, do people ever get out of therapy, or is this something that they have to do for the rest of their lives?
Yeah. My goal and my hope is that you don't become dependent on a therapist, because like I said, we are here to help thousands and thousands of people. The goal though is not so much change, it's a shift. that happens in your mindset. And that trickles, it's a trickle down effect. So I tell my clients, I'm like, I always encourage them, listen, I'm not trying to get you to get over your past and your trauma, but I want you to move through it. I tell my clients, it's like the game of life. I said, when you spin that little thing and you start to move your car, if you look back, look how much improvement. Look where you came from. And that's what we want. We want to see some improvement. We want to see some progress. We want you to feel better. We want to provide you with the necessary tools in your mental health toolkit so that you can do this stuff at home, you know. And so hopefully the gap kind of closes where you come every week, you start coming every other week, you might start coming monthly, and then you might check in every 2 months, you know. But I have some success stories. Um, but I also think we are dealing with a time, day and age where we are so caught up on our electronic devices, we have forgotten what it means to get out and socialize with people and to be in the community. And, you know, we have some people now going to church online. That was one of the main reasons why we went to church when we was little, to socialize and, you know, get out and be amongst the believers. But now we all at home. And then I don't have any friends. What you mean you don't have no friends? You don't have one friend you can call? Oh no, they this. And so you find a lot of people now who are by themselves, and that's creates another problem. So it's a whole
And I love,
dynamic.
yeah, and I love how you said the shift, because I think that's because you can look at the same thing, but if you shift the way your perspective of what you're looking at, it changes the whole
Mhm.
dynamic of
Mhm.
everything. Like you can look at a room
Yes.
as, hey, it's an empty room, or you can look at it as, this is a room I can decorate and make my own.
Mhm.
But how do we make that shift and stay in the shift? Because like Chanta, we can
Mhm.
shift a little bit and we can think positive, but what do we do when life hits and we go back to those negative thoughts? Like, how do you, because it's when
Mhm.
you shift back, it's easier to stay there. How do you just move on and not get stuck again?
Yeah, that's a good question. John, one of the things I just talked about is your mental health toolkit. So just like you have tools in your house to tinker on a car or the sink, you have to have things in your home or around you that are going to cause you to make sure that you stay in a place or you have the proper support. None of us can do this journey alone. I love that song, I Need You to Survive. I love it because it's so true. Like, I need you to survive. And so I encourage my clients to make sure they have what's called a positivity jar where you write messages to yourself. And when you have those low moments, down moments, because we all have them, you pour out all that stuff in your positivity jar and you start reading it to remind yourself, you know what? I am brave. I am courageous. I can get through this. You call a friend, you know, like, hey, I just need to talk to somebody real quick. You know, I'm feeling this way. Or, you know, I paint, I color. Right now I'm reading another book. Um, I have all kind of things in my space. I do word searches. I think I told you I started doing jigsaw puzzles because it kind of helps my mind to relax and be like, okay, Shanta, reset. You got this. And those are the things we talk about in therapy. So you take that stuff and apply it. But let's say you're really struggling. Then, of course, we want you to come back in, you know, and maybe you need to go back through treatment, you know, and treatment is just us talking, having a one on one session. And then, like I said, if you need something more, then that's for us to assess and make sure we get you the help that you need.
Nice. I love that. And because this whole season of the podcast is all about leveling up. And it's about
Mm-hmm.
leveling up on every aspect, finances, mentally. Last week we had a real estate agent on here and he was talking about building a home, because so many of us, we want to live in our dream homes, but we're not there yet, or we found reasons to do that. So I love the fact that we are talking about this on tonight. So let me ask you this here, Chanta. Like, there are people that need a safe space. So let's flip. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
talk about the person that needs it. Let's talk about, how can I become a safe space for someone? Like, how can, because a lot of times that's the problem. A lot of times we don't feel that we have anybody that we can talk to and be vulnerable and be
Mm-hmm.
transparent without it coming back to hurt us in the long run. So what advice can you give me to be a safe space for someone?
I'm gonna try not to laugh because I know you.
Come on, give it to her.
No.
Give it to her.
Oh, y'all, John. Woo! No, but just you listening, like listen, don't talk. Everything, and this is why when you creating these safe spaces for you, let's say your friends. I think one of the first questions you need to ask, what do you need from me, friend, in this very moment? Do you need me to listen? Do you need me to give feedback, opinion? Because sometimes people just want to talk and let it out. Now, I also warn people, be very careful if somebody keep coming back. Hey, friend, have you thought about counseling? Because you got to set parameters for yourself, and boundaries. But listen, make people feel supported and wanted. We listen and we don't judge. That's the whole thing going on now, which I love it. Because sometimes we don't need your judgment. We just need your opinion. And if I want your opinion, be mindful of how you say things. A lot of people don't have tact when they say things. John, no. um, y'all know, y'all, I love John. Me and John, 10 toes down.
We're gonna go. This is not about me tonight. Okay, keep it going.
But no, but listen, and be mindful of what you say and how you say it, because my mama used to always say it's not about what you say. People gonna always remember how you made them feel. So if I know that, hey, I can call Chanta and she's gonna listen, and I might give it to them straight, but it's how I do it, because I don't want to be nasty. I'm too old for that. I don't want to be nasty with you. I don't want to be ugly. I'm very professional, very classy. So I'm gonna keep it
very, very demure.
So, I want to keep it that way, and I just want you to know, I'm that person for you. But yeah.
Okay, so I love how you said first ask them, do you want me to listen? Like, what do you need from me? You ask them, what do you need? And if they say, listen, you just listen, right? No feedback, nothing like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And at the end, when it's over, hey, friend, I hope everything works out for you.
Okay.
Because what we have done, we have gotten to a position in life where we enable people from being problem solvers. So I just want you to listen. Now, if I come back and say, John, I don't know how to move past this. I don't know how to solve this. Can you give me your input? John, you a safe space, John.
No, in 2025, I said, I'm not giving anybody any feedback. I'm just going to let them be the best version of themselves, whatever version of that is. I'm just going to listen to them. And I've been kind of like doing somewhat good on that. But yeah, I just let people talk now. I just listen to them. So, okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to do anything different. They just want to talk and waste energy. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Chanta, next time we hang out and everything, you're talking to me, I'm gonna say, hey Chanta, have you ever considered talking to a therapist?
I have. I've had 3 therapists. Thank you. Thank you. So whatever.
I was like, have you ever considered talking to a therapist? Because we've talked about this about 3 times and you don't want me to give my feedback. So I'm gonna just say, consider talking to a therapist. Okay, so that's really good. So ask them, how can you help them? And then any other advice for being a safe space?
No, I think that's pretty much the core for me of being a safe space. Yeah, and I would just definitely say start off with, what you need from me, friend. So you can know.
Yeah. Now, do you work with EAP?
I do.
Okay, so what's the benefit of EAP? So everybody needs to know your yearly benefits on your job just kicked off. So you can get like free sessions now on your job. And my job is even offering now like your additional sessions, you only pay $10 a session. So they're really helping you out. So that's amazing. So let's talk about EAP. Like, so Yeah, talk about that, Shanta.
Yeah, so the EAPs at your job cover, like John was saying, where you can come in and talk to a licensed professional. Um, and they some jobs, depends on the plan, offer 3, 5 sessions, and or they'll discount the remainder of the sessions. But what jobs are really trying to do is hone into where we're going now as far as putting emphasis on mental health, mental well-being, because we do know when people come to work, yeah, they come to work, but they was at home and who knows what's going on at home, and so that does affect them at work. So your employment benefits offer you to come in and talk to us. And then if you feel like you want to continue to talk to us, then we could talk to you about your benefits and how that works. But yeah, mostly all of your medical plans now cover mostly all. There are some that don't cover mental health in sessions. Some plans like offer 26 sessions, 30 sessions, 50 sessions a year. So you really want to know to what your benefits, because I see a lot of people don't know what their benefits cover. I'm like,
Yeah.
you want to inform yourself and know what your benefits cover and offer.
And is this confidential? Like, so we call EAP and we talking to them. Are they going to tell our managers what we're talking about?
So you had a breakup. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Is HIPAA, I mean, not, is EAP confidential?
Yes. So every time you meet with a licensed professional, you do sign the HIPAA forms, and understand that, yes, everything we talk about is confidential. Now, we do have a duty to warn. So if I feel that you are in danger of harming yourself or harming someone else, I do have a duty to warn the proper authorities so we can get you the proper help that you need.
And do we sign off on that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Cool. I think people need to understand that because I think that's another thing that people are so afraid of when it comes to their EAP. They think that it's going to get back to
Oh,
their managers what they're
mhm.
talking about, and they don't go to it. But it's super confidential, and
Yeah,
I encourage everybody. If you're not ready yet to invest in therapy out of pocket, start with your EAP. It's
yes.
free, and just start with them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. It is confidential. Nothing is reported to your company. I have some people that have the notion that we just write up this file and mail it over to their employee. I'm like, no, everything we write stays in your chart. Now, there are some cases where you will have to work with a leave administrator and they will have to have information from me, but that leave administrator is different from your employer or from like your manager per se. So that's also important to know, because if you want me to write you out on leave, short-term disability, then we work with those entities to make sure they have the proper documentation to where I suggest this is what may be best for the patient. So
Okay. Y'all so out there in the chat, do you guys have any questions for Shanta? Because we are like, dang, this hour is going by real fast. Y'all have any questions for Shanta before we get out of here? Shanta, this has been like really, really good. So, okay. So EAP, we talked about that. Okay. So this is another good question. How do you know what type of therapist you need?
Um, well, most of us would work with, let's say anxiety, depression, but I mean, you really have to read our bios, and some people want somebody that is the same ethnic background, ethnicity of them, or the same race, or somebody wants some, like we have some special modalities that we practice in, like um EMDR, which deals with sensory. And so some people want that. It talks about tapping and things of that nature. So some people want that. So really, but if you're just dealing with everyday life, anxiety, depression, most of us can definitely help you and put you on the right path. And I will say this too, when we're going back to benefits, if you are looking for a therapist, I will shout out my practice. I am over at Mind Matters. We work with a company called Geode Health, and we have all providers, and we also do assessment and testing. So all you do is just call your insurance company. They'll lead you over to most likely ZocDoc, and you can find a provider there. But please make sure you utilize your benefits because you are paying for them. So use them. But yeah, most of us deal with pretty much, like I do grief, depression, anxiety, personality disorders. Yeah, so life, yeah, whatever. So
Okay, that's really good information there. So, guys, if you want to contact Chanta, you can always reach her at her email address, and that's Shanta_V@yahoo.com, or you can call her practice at 972-221-7900. You can always call there and reach her if you need her services. Now, Shanta, I know some therapists, they aren't licensed to practice in every state, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, are you licensed to practice in multiple states?
No, so at this moment, I'm only licensed to practice in the state of Texas, meaning the patient has to be in Texas and resides in Texas. And I also have to be in the state of Texas. I am working on getting some other licenses, but Texas has provided me plenty of clients. So but yeah, there are some therapists that are licensed in other states.
Okay, nice. Okay. So, Shanta, what final word do you have for everybody tonight?
Final words, you are worth putting in and filling your cup with the things you need to make your life better. And that seeking help, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. We are here to help. We are licensed professionals. We have worked very hard, but you're worth it. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You got to fill your cup, because when you're out here living life, you're going to need something to go back to and remind you of the amazing person that you are. So fill your cup. You're worth it. Do those affirmations, do those mantras, and just, keep believing.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love that. Keep believing, keep believing. And I love affirmations. If you're not saying affirmations, say them. And I love the drawer where you said write affirmations down and put them in the jar. So when you're having your moment, you can go back and read those. I love that. I think that's pretty good. I probably may even initiate that myself, but I think that's really good. But guys, we will see you guys next Monday. Next Monday, the guest is Paul Garrett. He is an entrepreneur and he is a business coach. So if you have a small business and you are trying to take it to the next level, this is the guy that you want to listen to. So next Monday, 7 p.m. I'm really excited about having him on the show. And Shanta, thank you so much
You're
for coming on
welcome.
tonight. This has been amazing. And Shanta, it's time for you to see a therapist. Don't call me. I'm no longer your safe space. Since you called me out tonight, no, you see a therapist.
We like to have a good time. We like to have a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah, you see a therapist. Y'all don't know John. That's what she said. No, you see a therapist since John
Donna
is
set
all of
me
that.
straight. Set me straight.
No, but thank you again. And everybody, we will see you next Monday. Peace. Shanta,